So, talking to change makers, Rob Sunderland. So Rob, you're going to tell us a little bit about the inspiration that brought RedLines to life?
Sure, yeah. So I've been working in the weather industry for 15 years or so, and you can't look at weather data every day and analyse weather data every day for too long without kind of climate change coming and punching you in the face, really. So we looked at enough of the climate data and kind of started to get worried, to be honest. So we decided to set up a separate business called RedLines to try and do something about it, and that's how we started.
And so what's the mission then? What are you actually trying to achieve here?
So we put some thought into how could we use the resources we have to make the biggest difference, and I think the biggest difference that we can make is by trying to get corporates to understand the risks and damages that climate change might cause them. So we really, the services that we provide are essentially translation services from climate science and modelling and the very good kind of academic work that goes on there, translating that into a language that corporates can understand, which is the sort of the financial language and the financial impacts, and hopefully by understanding the magnitude of the problems in financial terms, it encourages them to do something about it, but also enables them to strategize and build better business cases for action.
And the positive implications of the product, can you give us some examples?
Yeah, so we have a service that looks at almost any type of business and assesses in a systematic way the different types of risks that they might encounter. A very common one is carbon tax risk. So if you have a carbon footprint, that's carbon tax rises are almost guaranteed, even in the short to medium term. And turning that carbon footprint into a financial cost transforms things from my experience and actually turns it from something that's the right thing to do into something that they have to do. So businesses with a carbon footprint can focus attention on that kind of thing. Other businesses may not have so much of a carbon footprint, but they have assets that are out in the field. Maybe they're close to the coast and maybe at an increased risk of flooding. And quantifying that damage and that risk in that sense gives different benefits to different kinds of companies, and those are the sort of positive actions that we can have is adapting those businesses to become more resilient to the climate change that may be coming.
Okay, so you've got a product. What was the step-by-step process you went through to get into your MVP or minimum viable product and where you are at the moment?
Yeah, so we were obviously a small business that didn't want to kind of go headlong into developing a full system without kind of regular feedback and talking to the market essentially. So we built a demonstrator to begin with, which is more of a almost like a PowerPoint version of the software that we were imagining. Took that out to people that we had that we knew in the market and kind of got feedback and evolved the idea from that point. We then got some grant funding to build out kind of a minimum viable product, which we've built and we've been taking out and getting feedback on, and we're now kind of on the journey to building that into a much more feature-rich kind of software as a service offering.
Yeah, and there's a lot of data points that you're sort of taking in. You've got a lot of algorithms on top, haven't you? And sort of bringing about that impact of the data, making sense of it. No, it's great. So, what the journey of a high-tech software company is tricky. What sort of tips have you got people here of the pitfalls and lessons learned?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we've had to improve on the most is actually the kind of the marketing and the why and the storytelling element of what we're doing. We're very adept at technical work and we're good at that side of things. And I think it's just becoming easier and easier to kind of develop tech solutions, but actually conveying the mission statement and the story and the marketing that goes along with it is probably where we've had to pick up our, we've had to learn the most. And I think we're doing a good job on that, but that's one of the current focuses.
That sounds great. So looking ahead, what's the future hold for RedLines?
So one of the, I've sort of said it to a few people in the room already that I've met, but one of the really exciting things about the business, I think, is that in order to deliver on the mission statement of actually doing something about climate change, we can't be a business that just goes in and points out problems. We have to be pointing to solutions as well. Building up an ecosystem of businesses like the people in the room that can actually implement some of the changes to correct or address and mitigate some of the risks that we develop is something that I'm really excited about, and having a kind of a network of companies that we can signpost other businesses to go and address the problems is probably what we're embarking on now.
No, that sounds great, just making it the data tangible and the actions there for all to see. I think that's what's missing a lot in the sort of climate sort of side of things. So I thought we'd just take panels, quick Q&A, and if anyone's got any questions on what it takes to bring a product to life, we can just go around the room quickly. But thank you, Rob, for sharing your journey with us. Have you got any questions at all for Rob?
Rob, Jones, King Growth Fund. Could you give us a specific example of what a solution is that you've delivered to a corporate and what the corporate's done about it?
So we have an assessment called a transition launchpad assessment, where we would go into a corporate and they come to us with kind of maybe the top 10 risks that they're worried about that climate change might bring. And our assessment, by quantifying each of those 10, we can put them into a priority list, which actually makes them, enables them to focus on the things that actually will have the biggest impact. So on a recent project, 97% of their risk was in the top 3 risks. So the other 7 things that they were worrying about were kind of more or less in the noise. And the top 3 things, which include their carbon footprint risk, but also access to raw materials. So it was surprising to us, but timber prices are actually probably going to go up quite considerably. And this client had a big spend on wood. So understanding that wood prices are going to go up means that you have to do something about that, and that drives a sustainability kind of point as well. They're now looking at ways to either procure wood alternatives or to procure or to recycle some of the wood that they're using in their kind of supply chain.
Anyone else still? Okay, well, I've loved working with Rob on this product and on following your journey to bring it to life. So yeah, good luck for the future, and yeah, thanks for joining us on stage today. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much.